Yeah, I'll show you how to get it, but you have to be willing to do the work. The Syndicate, it's a motherfucking movement.
It's a syndicate.
You ain't gotta be perfect, long as you down to put the work in. If when it comes to the bullshit you allergic, well, you just might be my kind of person. Welcome to the Syndicate, where real estate wholesaling is what the business is. Ain't gotta talk about it when you out here living it. So if you out here getting it, then welcome to the Syndicate. Well, welcome to the Syndicate. Well, welcome to the Syndicate.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're listening to another episode of the Real Estate Wholesaling Syndicate podcast. I'm very excited to be speaking with the guest I brought on today. He's actually going to be one of our speakers at our event, which is just a couple weeks away on June 5th. We have Anthony Hernandez with us, the real estate hero. Anthony, thank you so much for joining us today, bro.
Appreciate you. Thanks for having me, my man.
Of course, man. Yeah, I wanted to do this for a while, so I'm happy we finally get to do it and rock and rolling, man. So, yeah, for people who might not know who you are yet, do you want to give us a quick introduction?
Yeah, definitely. So, my name's Anthony. I go by the Real Estate Hero, guys. I am born and raised in San Antonio, Texas, on the south side. I am a closer, guys, and I help promote real estate, help you with wholesale. We provide tips and tricks and just try to help you get these deals across the board.
I love that, man. So how did you first get into it?
So the way I first got into real estate is kind of a short story, but I had a brother-in-law who didn't know he was doing real estate, stumbled across wholesale working with New Western. I had lost my job. I decided to go to Vegas instead of staying working at my Fortune 500 company at a bank. Decided to leave to Vegas. Decided to quit the job. After that, bro, I contacted him and said, hey, what did you do this time? And he told me about this contract stuff. And from there, bro, I started YouTube University and went from there.
I love it, man. So what was the journey like getting your first deal? Like, how long did it take? What methods were you doing?
On my very first deal, I was just driving for dollars, literally. So I was literally living in a duplex at the time. And it's a true story. The duplex I was living in was about 560 square feet. Very small, pretty much a bedroom and a half. And I was living there with my wife and my son at the time. I just had one child. And so I would drop her off at work. I would drive for an hour just driving for $1 because I didn't know systems existed. I hadn't been there. So I was like, hey, I just got a bird dog. So I would write down a bunch of addresses on a yellow pad notebook, go home, put them in CAD, get the addresses, and then I would send out mailers, bro. It sounds crazy, but I would send out literally a mailer with some cologne on it and a wet blue signature, and I would hope that a lady opened that envelope and she loved the smell of the cologne so I can go back to her house.
I love that, man. So were you handwriting the mailers yourself?
I would type them up. What I would handwrite would be my signature and a thank you on there, so they knew it wasn't just a bot.
Yeah.
I think that helped from the feedback I got. They would just say, hey, I knew that you were local because it was ink.
Yeah.
So it worked.
That's great, man. How many did you think you had to send out before you finally started getting responses? And
I would say probably, in true honesty, I was probably sending out probably about 50, 60 letters before I ended up getting traction. Before it would just be kind of somebody calling, hanging up. I started figuring out as I sent out mailers to put numbers on them. And so I put a number to know what number was on the bottom and say, wow, this was from the third batch. So it took me 60 mailers. So I was sending only 25 mailers at the time because I didn't know the law of numbers. I was like, okay, 25 mailers at 50 cents a mailer. Hey, that's good. Let me do 25 a day. So that's what I was doing before I realized that I needed at least 60 to start getting traction.
Right. I love that, man. So how did you come up with the idea for the cologne?
Man, I actually did it on accident.
Yeah.
I did it on accident. I actually sprayed myself with cologne, going to pick up my wife, and I got some on the letter. When I sent it out, this lady told me about the cologne, how it smelled good, so she gave me the idea, and I was like, you know what, maybe I just spray every letter with cologne. So I started spraying them with the cologne that I didn't even smell like, and I was hoping they would call, bro, and it worked, and so a lot of times they would like the cologne smell.
I love that. You ever get any angry husbands give you a call?
I've had one, but he was pretty cool once we met, but he just thought it was funny. He was like, why didn't you do that? At first I thought it was a joke and so I put the letters. So I thought it was funny, but other than that, women run the house, bro.
Yeah.
Women wear the pants. If the woman says we're going to sell, we're gonna sell.
100%. Yeah, it's one of the first things I learned selling cars. And yeah, it's true, man. It's 99.9% of the time. It's the way it goes, and usually the husband will tell you different, but it's,
yeah. When you're smart, you just know to be like, hey, it's cool. Just go with it.
I love that, man. So that's great, man. So you're sending the mailers, What happened? I know you built a pretty impressive portfolio since then too, and pretty quickly too. Do you kind of want to run us through that?
Yeah. So basically, that was just one time, right? I was doing a podcast interview, and I was working on some rentals. I hadn't solidified them yet, and I did a fib. And a lot of people will do this where they don't be honest. They'll kind of just run with some shit and just let it stick to the wall. I said I had.
You make it.
Yeah, they do this whole fake it till you make it shit. Sorry, guys. I don't do that, right? So I did one time in the interview said I had a rental. I hadn't actually solidified it yet, and I said I had it before I did. I ended up not getting that rental. The interview came out. My wife saw it and was furious. She's like, I can't believe you said that. We didn't even get it. That, karma, And she goes, don't ever say that again until you get a rental. Don't do it. So it lit a fire under my ass. I said, okay, I'm going to go get some rentals. Hold my beer, right? I literally went, secured private funding, and built about it was literally $1.62 million portfolio with less than $90,000. And I did a lot of it through Subject 2. And now we have rentals, and now we're getting paid on those every month from that point on. But part of the fire was I did a fib, and she said, wait a minute, didn't secure. And I said, okay, hold my beer. After that, we ended up getting probably, what is it, like about 11 now? It's over 10 properties now that we have in our portfolio that we built to now a little over 2 million. So that's been something that I've been pretty proud of, but I've never actually stood back to look at what I did. And I did it literally in less than 90 days.
That's wild. I love that.
Bro.
I love the integrity of it, and her being willing to call you out. And so I feel like most people are like, yeah, it's fine, but like having that fire.
I couldn't sleep at night. I'm like, man. And it's just like, you got to go get your rentals now. And so enough, man, I went ahead and I 8X'd it.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So what, when you were doing that, like, is it still the mailers, or were you doing anything different to get those deals?
No, so I switched it up. I ended up going to some of the lists. I ended up getting a good props from affiliation with Robert. I ended up getting, a lot of that good training that they provided. From there on, I started pulling lists, sending systems out. And then recently, now we have marketing involved. And so we're probably getting a click to contract probably at every $47. $47 and about 8 cents is we're getting a contract to click, which is pretty good considering some numbers are a lot higher. And then the other part is a lot of our traction too does come from referrals. And the biggest part is just the transparency on how I operate. I give everybody like a 3-option method, and every option I give you is going to let you know what I'm doing. So then, the referrals and the systems have kind of been our bread and butter. I mean, we get a lot of referrals from the reels and social media and stuff like that.
I love that. So when you say referrals, are those people who have deals and they want a JV, or are those people who, like, they're the owners themselves? Like, what are the kind of people you're getting from the reels?
So some of these are like random people. It could be someone on Facebook who saw a reel and said, hey, I have an aunt who wants to sell. Can you take a look at it? We get it in our inbox and our request, and we look at it, we analyze it, and it's a deal. Or the other way we get deals is it might be a friend who I've done business with, and they told their aunt or they told their mom, and they had such a great experience that I get a call back. And that's been really great. Or it's like something as simple as, hey guys, I can help you close this deal. Call me if you need it. And I post it quickly on Facebook, and somebody's like, hey, my aunt's selling a home, or my mom. So and it's been pretty consistent, man. I think just putting the marketing out there keeps you top of mind.
100%. I love that. And just to dive back into the marketing too, because we really try to go into tactical stuff, and I really appreciate you being willing to share. What is, so when you're talking marketing and clicks, are you guys doing like Google ads? Are you guys doing this in-house? You guys have somebody, like an agency you're doing it with? What kind of like ads are you guys having most success with, and how are you doing that?
Right now, from what it looks like, the biggest ads that we've had traction on was pre-foreclosure ads and our multi-family marketing ads. And so we basically have ads out there with paid actors. We also have ads out there where it's actually a digital, I guess, a mock-up of a home that might be distressed. And it'll say a quick sentence if you have fire damage or distressed homes or something like this. Call us here, and you do a click, and it'll kind of funnel you to my CRM. But the actors have probably been the biggest hit. I've learned that a lot of our clicks have came from actors giving you a testimonial, if you will, saying that they've worked with us and all that stuff. So you can get real testimonials, but we've learned in having real tangible people, they're not as forthcoming. They're not as bubbly or presentable as they would like them to be. So hiring an actor to kind of represent you is probably the best way.
Yeah, no, it's real hard to get, actual testimonials to be like, talk to them like, he did good. Like,
yeah, and then some people don't want to do it. They're on camera. They're like, well, how long? And so I learned, I posted regular testimonials to actors, and the actors will just get you a lot more traction.
I love that. No, that's great. And then, so where are you showing those ads? Like,
so the ads are going to come out through Pixels, man. So we have stuff set up through Pixels, and for those that don't know what pixel marketing is, guys, every time that you say something on your phone, if you're wondering why it pops up, it's because people like me have pixels set up, and when you say a certain word, I'm going to pop up on your phone. Your competition isn't, because they don't have that set up. Your competition is chasing tax delinquent ads. Your competition is at the foreclosure clinic. I'm literally everybody's home. So if you mention the word, man, I might get foreclosed, I don't know what to do, I'm facing pre-foreclosure, and you have that on your phone and your settings not off, the next time you're on your phone within about 15 minutes, when you scroll up, you're going to see one of my paid actors, or you're going to see one of my paid ads that says, are you facing foreclosure? We can help. Here's how. Simple click of a button, you fill out a form, it goes to our CRM, and it's a lead.
I love that.
So it definitely helps.
Yeah, for sure. So what's your so you get the lead? What's your follow-up process like once that lead comes in?
Right now, it goes in through a funnel of different categories, but pretty much when the first one comes in, they'll get that nice welcoming text to kind of vet how serious they are. After it gets vetted, like through one channel, it gets qualified from a motivated seller to an actual seller, and then it shows up on our CRM. From there, we have pre-text messages that are set up for 365 days a year that will actually send them a message. So if 2-3 days go by and I haven't got on it, or my wife hasn't got on it, or the system will automatically say, okay, it's been 3 days. Hey, Marcy, how's it going? We just wanted to touch base that we're still analyzing your deal. Give us some more time. So she'll always feel like she's talking to somebody, but we try to get every lead within the first 24 hours that it comes in. Because as you know, the money's in that first 24 hours. After that, your chances go down to like 40% of making that happen.
Yeah, 100%. I think I read a study. It's like first 5 minutes, and like everything after that, it's like drastically changes.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's
everything.
huge. But no, I love that your follow-up sequence is that long. What made you decide to do 365 days, and have you noticed like any big changes from when you weren't doing that beforehand?
Yeah. So in true transparency, I was doing probably about a month worth of messages. I was actually in Chicago, going to speak and kind of get some training done with a group of friends over there in Chicago that opened up a wholesale company. His name's Nick Saye, and so I was working over there. We went over there to go produce. Eric Klein was going over there as well, who's one of his business partners that they were working at the time to launch a program. So I went out there. I was sitting there with Eric, Tony. We were all talking, and Eric was telling me how he built out the system to have that many predicated responses, and I was intrigued and said, wow. The idea behind it was basically somebody might not respond to you in 30 days or 60 days, but maybe in 90 days they will. And if not in 90 days, well, then maybe in 120 days they will. But everything changes because the same thing that happened in the first 30 days might not be the same situation in 120.
Right.
But the average person falls off at 90. The average person falls off at 90. Guess where the money's at in that next 120?
Right.
At 120 where the normal wholesaler falls off, we pick up, right? And so when he kind of was there, we talked about it. I was like, man, you know what? I love that idea. And so I kind of went back into my CRM and implemented some of those changes, and we put in a lot of those messages, man. So now they come up.
I love that, man. That's great. Yeah, I'd argue it's even less than that. Like most people, I don't think they follow up 90 days. It's 1 or 2 calls, a couple calls, a week or two, and like they're done. Yeah. And most people like say they're doing it, and then like we actually dive in, look at their CRM, or you look at like what they're actually doing, and it's like I think people just underestimate how important the follow up is and how important it is to stay top of mind. Because I think all it really is just getting them at the right time.
It really is.
Because that's like they could be distressed, but they couldn't be the right time. But you know, once you get them at that right time, and they're like, not another minute, not another second, I need to sell this house now, and then make sure you're the one they talk to. Because I don't know how many people I've talked to, and they're I didn't do that, or when I did do it, and they're like so happy I called, like, hey, I couldn't find your number, I'm so happy. And same thing, like, oh, I couldn't find your number, I tried to call you, I went with somebody else. So it's like just so important. And if you can automate it and just have those sequences for you, it saves you so much time and just makes your life that much easier.
It really does. It does, bro. 110%.
Yeah. But so what are some of the mistakes you think you see new people making? Or, because I think follow-up's a huge one. What are some other mistakes or things that you see people doing the wrong way?
I think one of the biggest mistakes that I do see people doing is getting away from ethics, like the simple ethics, right? Memorandums shouldn't be placed. If you're a first-year wholesaler, you shouldn't worry about tactics like memorandums. You should focus on the follow-up process, focus up on building a rebuttal process. I think a lot of times a wholesaler, when they're first starting, they kind of see the shiny object syndrome. They see that they can make a pretty quick fee, and they don't know how to expedite it to make it a cash conversion cycle with it. I think the biggest mistake is not putting the money back into marketing immediately and keep on building. A lot of times they get their first little bit of money, they go and buy something crazy. And you and I have seen it. They come out with a brand new car, brand new this, and you're like, guys, like, geez, you've been doing it for like a year.
Yeah.
And it's okay to do that. Everybody does stuff at their own time. But just to give you a context, I practice on what I preach. It took me 5 years of doing this before I even bought my first anything, my first watch, my first car, anything I didn't touch until 5 years. I made sure I had my rental portfolio in place. I bought us a house. I never did none of that.
Yeah.
It was discipline over anything.
Man, I love that because it's, it happens so often. I've been guilty of it, especially first starting out. Like, get some money and you're like, oh, this is great. It's going to keep coming forever. And I can just ball out. But I feel like if you look at it like, whatever sports you like, whatever, like the Spurs, they win one game, like, oh, we're going to go on vacation now.
Yeah, bro, that's true.
But it's like, that's man, you got a whole season, you got a whole career. So it's, but no, I think that's great advice. And then, I think just not reinvesting it. Do you do it now a certain way? Do you have do you do percentages, or like, what do you do now, like, to know how much to allocate, like when you get for your profits? So
right now we try to maintain our marketing budget. We try to maintain it like $3,000 and below, and in that $3,000 you'll probably be looking at, on our new systems, what we're projecting at a $3,000 marketing spend. We're projecting about a good $80,000 return. That's a pretty good average and this is based on our click to contract ratio of $47. So if you do the math and you work it backwards, that number is really feasible. Yeah. It's not considering if we get, a home run deal out of those, but if every deal was just a $20K pop, that would be your average on a $3,000 ad spend on what we're doing on our conversions right now. So I think that's been one of the ones that make it really work for us. You know what I mean? Percentage wise, we do 10% that's going to go to taxes. I try to keep 15% miscellaneous for company. And then we do an extra 5%, which goes to admin. So right now, I always tell people, put an admin fee. Huge gym guys, if you're doing a marketing assignment, a marketing agreement, or an assignment, you should have a line item that says admin fee, $295, $395, and your buyers should pay that amount. Here's what you use that for. You use that for petty cash for your company. You can use that to pay down taxes. You can use that to pay your admin employees. When you're averaging 5-10 closings a month at $395 a closing as an admin fee, I'm talking thousands. Yeah. No. And if you do that times 12, it adds up. So we try to do everything in that percentage.
I love that. No, it's super valuable. So definitely make sure you guys take note of that, because that's a huge nugget right there. So, man, that's great, man. So any other advice you'd have for newer wholesalers or people who are still trying to find their footing?
Yeah, I would say one of the biggest things is to go to as many real estate events as you can. One of the first events I went to helped me, and I think every time I go to events, I still get nuggets. I still get gems. There's value from everybody. I've learned something from you at the last event. I've learned something from Mike Lannis. There's something to get from everybody. And when you stop growing, you're not going to know too much, right? You have to keep growing. So if you're a new wholesaler or even an experienced wholesaler, get involved and go into as many events as you can. Learn the new laws, learn the tactics, learn the loopholes. Don't think you know it all, man, because I think when you do, you get left behind.
100%.
You really do. So that's probably my biggest gem there. I think that's what you need to do.
Yeah, that's a great one. Yeah, I feel like if you're not growing, you're dying, and it's there's always more to learn. So I always try to have a white belt mentality and just like, what don't I know? Because like there's so many levels to real estate, there's so many levels to entrepreneurship, and you can always get better. Just a tiny bit better. Just it's a compound effect, and it adds up over time.
It really does, bro. 110%.
Yeah, 110%. Man. I think that's great. So I know you do a lot of different things. You do flips, you do buy and holds, you do wholesaling. What's your favorite strategy right now?
Man, I still love wholesaling, to be honest. Wholesaling is always going to be the money printer for us. It's always going to be the backbone to everything else that we do. So I'll never leave the bread and butter, but I do love flipping. I know some people say, oh, it's labor intensive and it's a hard job. Depending on how you strategize it, it could be. But if you have someone that's reputable that can do a turnkey flip for you, it saves you time. And if you get it on an entry where the margin's so low, it's a win every time, right?
Yeah.
And so I always tell people that's the best strategy. For me, I love wholesaling as a money printer, flipping, and to me, next is seller financing. I think seller financing, where is the money's at? Sell the note. Get the seller finance, create it, get an RMLO, go to your bank, get 70% on the dollar, call it a day, cash out.
Yeah, I think that's a great tip. How do you present seller finance when you're talking to sellers? I feel like sometimes people mess up there a lot.
So that's a great question. So whenever I present a deal to an actual seller, I always give them 3 options, right? I tell them that I'm going to work the deal as if I'm going to buy it 110%, which is about 99% of the time is what I'm trying to do, seeing if it fits for my portfolio. Once it doesn't, I let a seller know that I'm going to have 2 other options, which is 1, I'm going to source a funding partner who can finance it at the price that they want. And 2, if not, I'm going to come up with a creative financing solution if they're open to it, so that way they have 3 options. 10 out of 10 times, everybody wants multiple options.
Right.
So when they hear the first option, I can either come in a little bit lower than expected, because obviously we have to make money. They like option number 2, which is me trying to find a funding partner, wholesaling it, put it on investor lift or whatnot to buy the deal. And if I can't do that within 2-3 weeks, you can't sell, then I tell them, hey guys, option A and B didn't go through. However, we're down to our last option, which is seller financing. Then we have the terms. So by the time I get to the last option, they're just hoping that we can still make something happen.
I like that.
What I mean? Versus if I just present it to them out the gate, they're going to say, well, I'm going to take, Mike's call to hear that Mike said he'll give me a cash option. Well, Mike's going to do probably what we were going to do, except he's going to take a shot at that price and list it.
Right.
A lot of people do the seller financer. Oh, this deal doesn't work. We got to do it subject. If you give them these options, try it. You and I've seen deals sell at 80%.
Yeah.
Especially on investor lift. But if you don't give them those 3 options, you probably ain't going to get a chance to tell them what a seller finance is.
Right. No, I like that. Yeah, I think that's a great way to structure it, and then you're framing it the right way, so they're already invested.
1, 2, or 3, and then they give you permission.
Yeah.
And then the last one, if you wanted to go even for the gusto, you can tell them, if all else fails, we can get you retail price, and then you can work your innovation magic.
Yeah, no, that's huge. I think that's a great way to structure that.
It'll definitely get you on ball, bro. Like, they'll be like, hey, well, you mentioned if this one didn't work, can we do option number 3? Done. You get a whole house for $10K.
Yeah.
That's how kind of we use our portfolio when we built it.
That's awesome. That's super valuable. Now, one of the things I like that you mentioned last time, I know you're correct me if I'm wrong, but you're pretty focused just on San Antonio, and like I know you mentioned in the last speech I heard you do that you're like paying attention to what's going on with the city. You're watching different things. You kind of explain some of the resources you're using and how you stay connected with what's going on and what developments are going to be happening.
So there's basically, if you go to sanantonio.gov, or if you're in another county and you're listening to the show, if you go to your local county website, on every county website, you're going to see resources, or you're going to see city mandates or city code and planning. Depending on what they word it is, when you click that, you're going to be able to see actual city meetings that are already happened, or they're upcoming. If they already happened, you'll actually be able to see a video of how that meeting went, what took place, what plans are going, and what was proposed. So when you do that, guys, you're actually able to see what's coming up on the scope for the city. And it's usually about a year in advance of what's happening. So right now there's a hotel being built on Broadway. That plan was released over a year ago. Right now everybody's trying to scramble. Well, the scrambling already happened.
Yeah.
It already took place. Which is why you see, smart investors and company owners like Ricky Ortiz, who bought Bessemer before that hotel was even being built, and now it's about to be built. And he's one of the only restaurants right there on that corner. But he saw it over probably almost a year and a half ago. And you get it through these websites. And so when you're able to see the city planning and zoning resources, you can check the zoning that's changing. If it's changing to commercial in a neighborhood, it's going to tell you why. Then it'll also tell you what businesses are already signed that are going to be on there, and you'll see like a diagram. So when I bought the property that her and I own on a commercial lot off of 410, we were able to see the diagram that showed Starbucks across the street, KFC, a wellness center, and we were able to see everybody that already had made a commitment. So we said, okay, we got to get across the street now, because eventually someone's going to buy this other side of the whole highway, and hopefully we get bought out, But in the meantime, we're going to build businesses. But yeah, man, that city resource site is huge. Every county has one. It might be something worded different, but it's going to tell you what's coming up.
That's awesome. How frequently do you check that or take a look at it?
To be honest, I haven't checked it in a couple months because I've been so busy doing a lot of stuff in our intercompany development. But usually I would try to check it once every week, man. Once every week to kind of see what was going on. And part of our other check was she was actually operating our code compliance division. So she was actually getting on in the morning, going through all the code compliance stuff, going through all the videos, going through all the data, and trying to see what we can do to help some of the people. And so, yeah, we were doing that every week, man.
I love that. So let's talk about, so how do you guys work together? Kind of who does what? How do you guys structure that?
I do a lot of it. But in terms of like marketing, she's been helping me like crazy because we've been actually scaling so fast.
I'm a cheerleader.
She does drive, and she does take on stuff like title work. I've been having to do a lot of title work. She's been doing a lot of marketing. And the part that helps me the most is her basically taking care of the household. So that helps me. But when it comes to the business, she's helped recruit employees for us. She's also helped do a lot of our training for the onboarding. So she's able to take some of those small tasks that I'm able to like go and focus on the big items. So yeah, she's been pretty helpful, man. I love when she can actually jump in and step out from the kids.
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah, I think it's so important, especially having a partner like that where you guys can work together. And me and my wife do it, and it's makes life a lot easier.
It really does.
Yeah.
And it's telling you, go answer that call versus it's time to put your phone up. And you're like, well, she's the opposite. Go make the money, go help that family.
Right.
Go. You know, then you have the opposite that's like, we got to stop at 7.
Yeah.
You and I know real estate don't stop. You're going to get a call at 7 in the morning or 7 at night.
Right.
You could be with the busy man or you could be with the broke man.
That's good.
That is very true.
I love that.
Very true.
Man, so this has been great. I mean, I've gotten a bunch of great takeaways, man. I'm super excited for our event. Again, it's going to be June 5th. So if you guys, June 5th, it's going to be here in San Antonio, Rev Mortgage. Grab your tickets. Go to live.wholesalingsyndicate.com. Anthony's going to be speaking. I'm going to be speaking. We have RJ Bates coming. We have Cassie DeHaas. And yeah, it's going to be a badass event. So if you guys want to learn everything you need to know about wholesaling from A to Z, make sure you're there. Even if you haven't done your first deal yet, we're going to give you the exact information that you need to know. Literally had a guy just DM me the other day. He came to our last event in February, already done his first deal, and this is about a month ago, and just from coming to our event and taking action. So
Nice.
It's possible, man. You just got to do the work.
It is. You drop so many gems. Like you're basically giving a layout. All they have to do is execute.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, I mean, you're giving them a program to pull deals and data. Like, it doesn't get any easier than that, bro.
Right.
If I knew what I knew now, I would have been at more events.
Yeah.
First year of wholesale stuff on YouTube.
100%. And it's, yeah, the only people I invite to speak are people like yourself who are go-givers and want to give back to the community and want to help people. And it's, there's so many people out there that do. So, I mean, it really just comes down to execution. And
It really does, bro. Execution and just being transparent. I think there's a lot of fake it till you make it out there that kind of can dilute what should actually be done.
Yeah.
Sometimes people are getting a bad taste and they're like, hey, I had this happen and this happened. So it makes it harder for honest deals like us, to make happen because everybody's been burned or they've had a bad experience. And
Right.
we're like trying to do the cleanup.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people struggle too because there's like false expectations from what some people say they're doing and their numbers, and then they get into it and it's like people are like, why am I not doing what they're doing? And it's
how are they making $30,000 a deal? And you're like, well, it's probably not really a real $30,000 per deal,
right.
But yeah, they set that expectation that it can happen overnight for everybody. And when it doesn't, they're kind of bummed out, or they're like, well, your course didn't do it.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, whose course did? You have to find the right person to follow.
Yeah.
If you're following people that don't have a proven method, you're probably going to end up with that same unproven result.
Right.
It really is. It's proof in the pudding, man. You can't lie. Numbers are there. Everything's public.
Yeah, it really is. But, yeah.
It really is, bro. But I can't wait for your event, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course.
Super exciting, bro. I'm pumped for all the people that are going to speak, bro.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. So where's the best place for people to connect with you online or learn more about what you're doing?
So you can reach me on Facebook at Anthony Hernandez, or you can type in Real Estate Hero, or you can reach me on Instagram at Real Estate_Hero, or on TikTok at Real Estate Hero as well. I think it's Real Estate.Hero on TikTok. But on any of the following, I'm always dropping, I'm always taking messages. So let's connect, let's do deals. If anybody has JVs, guys, let's make some money together. If you have a dirty title, we love clearing dirty titles. That's where the money's at, man.
I love that, man. We'll definitely have to do this again, man. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me, big dog. Really, thank you, man.
Hey, this is Ky Logue. Thank you for listening to the podcast. I truly appreciate you. If you want more of this information and you want to see these actually recorded live, go ahead, join our Facebook group. It's the Real Estate Wholesaling Syndicate. It's right on Facebook. Google it, you'll find it. Type it on Facebook, you'll find it. I look forward to seeing you guys in there. We give a ton of free information in there, a bunch of free trainings, free courses. You get all the scripts, contracts, everything you need, A to Z, absolutely free. And I look forward to seeing you on the group.